Up every morning just to keep a job, gotta fight my way through the hustle and mob. Sounds of the city pounding in my brain, while another day goes down the drain. But it's a 5 o'clock world when the whistle blows, no one owns a piece of my mind. There's a 5 o'clock me inside my clothes, thinking that the world looks fine. Yodel-a-dee-dee-dee-dee. Trading my time for the pay I get, living on the money that I ain't made yet. Gotta keep going, gotta keep my way, but I live for the end of the day. 'Cause it's a 5 o'clock world when the whistle blows. No one owns a piece of my time. There's a long-haired girl who waits, I know, to ease my troubled mind. Yodel-a-dee. In the shelter of her arms everything's okay. She talks and the world goes a-slipping away. I know the reason I still can't go on when every other reason is gone. 'Cause in my 5 o'clock world she waits for me, nothing else matters at all. 'Cause every time my baby smiles at me, I know that it's all worthwhile. Yodel-a-dee-dee-dee-dee. Up every morning just to keep a job, gotta fight my way through the hustle and mob. Sounds of the city pounding in my brain, while another day goes down the drain. Well, folks, you ever had one of those days? Nothing goes right at work. The person you dislike the most ends up being paired with you on some project. The boss is in a cranky mood, and your 8-hour day feels like you've been there for a week. And you get home, and the last thing you want to do is cook. In fact, what you really feel like doing is this. Well, before we get quite that drastic, let's rethink this. You got to feed your family or yourself, so how about something simple that's easy to do? And even my friend in England, Gareth, who has trouble making cornbread, Gareth, you could pull this off, no problem. So let's get right to it, shall we? We'll put together this nice little tuna fish casserole, and this goes out to Gucci and Lewis, who two lovely cats of Susan's, who requested that I do something with tuna. So today we're going to make a tuna casserole. All right, let's get this show on the road. So our ingredients today are all pretty simple. The first one, I'm using Knorr brand, or Knorr, depending on how you want to pronounce it. They make these things called sidekicks, and they make different types. So you can change up the flavor of your casserole by whatever you use. There's herb and garlic, there's the chicken, there's, I can't remember them all, but there's probably a dozen at least different flavors. Or if you don't like pasta, you can even get rice sidekicks. So we're going to use that. We're going to use a can of flake tuna. Now, if you live on the West Coast or East Coast and can get fresh tuna, so much the better, but I live in the middle of the prairies, and tuna fishing is not a big industry here. So we're going to go with canned tuna. We're going to want 2 cups of water, so we'll put that in the saucepan. And we'll get that going, because we want to bring that water to a boil. Later, as we put it together, we're going to need some breadcrumbs. Now, today I'm using panko breadcrumbs, but you can use crushed cornflakes, you can use cracker crumbs. If you use Triscuits or wheat thins, you can pick a different flavor and change it up again, and crush those for your flakes or your crumbs on top, or just regular breadcrumbs, whatever you want to use. I'm not paid by any of these companies. It's just showing you the brands that I use. And then your final topping will be a shredded cheese. And today I'm using shredded cheddar, but you can use mozzarella, you can use Jack, you can use Parmesan, so you can really change this recipe up a lot just by what flavors you choose, what cheeses you choose in order to make it. So we're going to get this water boiling and then we'll be right back. Alrighty, our water is starting to boil, so now the next thing we do is add this. Basically, you can just follow the directions here on the packet. We're going to add our Knorr's mix, or whatever mix you happen to be using. I think Lipton makes some of these. If you live in England, there may be brands that I'm not aware of, but I'm sure they make something similar there. We can turn our heat down a little bit. I've got it on high just to bring it to a boil faster. I'm going to turn it down to about a 5. And once we got that going, always have a spoon rest. They're a real handy thing to have in the kitchen. Keep your counters clean. Okay, so it's coming up to a boil. We'll turn it down some more because we don't want it to boil over, make a mess of the stove. We're going to add our tuna. Now sometimes when I make this, I'll add other things like fresh garden peas or sliced carrots, or, but today I'm trying to show you something that's fairly simple to make without a lot of hassle and work. Because, like I say, if you've had one of those days at work, the last thing you really want to do is come home and cook for your family. So this is something you can do quick, or maybe you can talk your spouse into getting this on the go and save you the bother. I think about the only people who might not be able to make this are the ones that claim that they even burn water. By the way, if you have that ability, my understanding is the fire department is looking for you. So we have that on a low boil now for about 8 minutes. So we'll set the timer for 8 minutes and start up. And unless you really enjoy watching things boil on the stove, we'll come back in 8 minutes and go from there. Hi folks, I just realized I was chattering away at you there and didn't have my microphone turned on, so I apologize. So unless you lip read, I'll just tell you what I said. Haven't figured out how to do voiceovers yet, or I would do that. Anyway, it was just once the concoction on the stove, the sidekick and tuna combination had boiled for 8 minutes, I brought it over, put it in the casserole dish. I added some breadcrumbs on the top, added the cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, put the lid on and put it in a 350-degree oven for 40 minutes, and then it's ready to eat. So that's what happened there. I did comment that you can use other things. So to make this, you choose whatever side dish you want, whether it's Knorr brand or some other brand, whatever flavor you want, herb and garlic, chicken, they make quite a few. And pasta or rice, take your pick. And then your meats, you can use tuna. If you have leftover chicken, beef, or ham, or turkey, you can chop those up and use those. And you can make this as complex or as easy as you want. You can add onion, you can add mushrooms, you can add whatever. But today I was trying to show you something you can do that's fairly simple. So our ingredients today were 2 cups of water, the packet of Knorr chicken sidekick, a can of tuna, a tablespoon of margarine, and that was on the stove. Or sorry, the tablespoon of butter margarine wasn't. Then in your casserole dish, you add your tablespoon of butter, stir it until it melts, sprinkle your breadcrumbs on top. Again, you can use cracker crumbs, whatever flavor you want to use. If you have some croutons and want to crumb them up and put them on top, you can do that too. And then your cheese of your choice, cheddar cheese, Monterey Jack, Parmesan, Swiss cheese, you name it. Your choice is yours. If you want to add some peas or carrots or other vegetables to it, you can do that as well. Like I say, you can make this as simple or as complex as you want. This is also a nice camping recipe, because what do you have to take with you? Well, your water, your cook pots, I guess, your packet of Knorrs, and your can of tuna fish. If you don't have margarine or butter, well, it doesn't have to have that. It adds a little bit to the flavor, but it's not an absolute requirement. So an easy one. So Bear, if you're watching this, Journey of Bear, who does Canteen Cup Tuesday, here's one for you. You can do this. You could probably even use canned cocktail shrimp in this one if you wanted to. Make it as simple or as gourmet as you want. Anyway, we'll be back when the casserole's done cooking, and we'll see how she turns out. Well, we're back. The timer's almost run down on our 40 minutes, and we'll pull our casserole out of the oven and take a look at it. See if it's something you'd like to eat. And if you aren't, if it isn't, then you can be thankful that you don't live here in Regina, because I might invite you over for supper and feed you something you don't want. And if it is something you'd like, well, you'll have to make it for yourself, because by the time you get here, I think it'll be all gone. All right, let's have a look at it, shall we? And there we have it. Let's take the lid off so you can have a closer look. Now, if you want to brown the cheese a little bit, as you can see, it's got a little bit of a browning on it. There we go. But if you want to brown a little bit more, probably for the last 10 minutes, take the lid off of your casserole to let the heat get inside a little bit more, and it'll brown the top for you nicely. But I like it like this. So there we have it. A nice, down here where you can see me instead of just my talking mouth. And a nice tuna fish casserole. So Goosey and Lewis, again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. There you have a tuna dish, and it's got all your favorites. It's got tuna, it's got cheese, so you'll be laughing if Susan shares some with you. There we go. And I haven't been in the cooking, Sherry. Just can't seem to get my tongue to work right today. Anyway, folks, until Friday, when we will have our story, one shout out and a joke, Groaner of the Week. Take care, stay safe, and may God bless you.